Hello, everyone. I found out that the conference last night, a couple of them were not recorded about final projects. And so I'm going to make a video about the final project so that you're aware of exactly what I'm wanting out of it. So both of them were introduction to sociology courses. So I'm posting the same video for that because it's the same exact requirements. I'm going to go ahead and use the introduction to sociology that is the online setting right now to go into. But on your screen, I'm going to go to student view so you can see what you're looking for. Final questions and all of that kind of stuff that you might have after this, just go ahead and email or text me if you didn't get to catch the conference last night. So when you're going in, same as anything, you can go either into assignments or to modules. Going to assignments, you can scroll down and find the final project presentation. It's due April 28th at 11:59. And the presentation is an individual piece. And for the face-to-face class, you were going to do a group presentation, but that's now changed to individual presentations. And you're going to basically pick a subject, a social problem of some sort, and there's a list down here of possible subjects. It doesn't necessarily have to be this from this grouping, but it is a scope that I try to limit. And so, because I don't want you to just look at gender and try to do that in a 2 to 3 page paper and a 10-minute video presentation. That's just too broad. So the scope and range is subjects that would affect the student or the average student or the Emporia State campus, meaning things that would happen in our culture or our world, so that we can have a little bit more of a limited lens when we're looking at this. So for example, campus safety at Emporia State, or understanding the sports culture, or singleness, or eating disorders, all of these brought into the scope of actual Emporia State University that group. Sorry, I'm taking a little bit to try to think through my words here while I'm going back and forth, but to kind of keep it to where you can focus. So what that would look like, for example, is in your literature review, you'd be looking for other college campuses or other age groups that would apply to this particular subject for your literature. We'll go back over that in a second. So the description is picking a social problem to explore within the bounds of Emporia State University and making a narrated PowerPoint. I know for many of you this is a new piece, and the best way to really get a hold of how to do this is to play around with some of the features that are either in PowerPoint or Prezi or Zoom. I often will make a PowerPoint and then upload it into Zoom, and I've got several videos below. You can click any of these that will take you to a YouTube site that will show you how to do a voiceover. Also, there's another resource that I'm going to be sending out that a student had found very helpful in making voiceovers. And so she sent that because she was thinking of all her classmates and thought that it might be helpful for you. So I'll send that out in an announcement and add that to the screen. I want you to look at the subject that you've picked with a sense of resourcing it with 3 valid resources, meaning not just something from BuzzFeed, but using primary sources. So even if you find something on Psychology Today, go to the bottom of the page for the article and look at the resource that they use, because every article that is posted in that format, whether it be a vlog, blog, or some sort of a reporting tool, has a bias to it. Usually they're using the information to make a point. Not that you can't agree with that point, but in sociology, we like to look at the primary resource and interpret the results for ourselves. Also using things like Pew Research, some sort of government website, such as the census, or actually the American Community Survey is the larger form of the census. General Sociological Survey also has lots of information, CDC. Those kinds of resources are valid and absolutely can be used for your statistical information. And then finally, as you put this together, this is what I want you to keep in mind. You are going to upload a video presentation, which is 130 points, and a paper that is 2 to 3 pages that basically describes the project from beginning to end with these basic questions answered. Make sure you're using your sociological imagination and terminology that we've talked about in class. So thinking about this problem, not just from your own personal standpoint, but as it affects society as a whole. Try to think about it through a sociological theory. We've studied 3 major theories throughout this course and included a couple others as well. Those being functionalist, or functional is sometimes how it's regarded. Also, you want to look at conflict theory, which conflict compared to functional. Functionalist looks more at like how society just functions, and if there are dysfunctions that need to be corrected in it. Conflict theory is more a discussion about power and how things are set up in a way that advantages some over others based on social constructs that we've created, often about race, gender, and socioeconomic class. Remember Marx on that one. Symbolic interaction, which tells us that we've put certain symbols to things in life. So, for example, if you're looking at hazing, thinking about how the symbolic understanding of being initiated is something that we still value in community, and yet where's the line with that, and what does that symbol mean when it becomes hazing? Those type of theories will help a lot. Feminists, we've studied a little bit as well, and other theories you are welcome to use that we've talked about in class, but I really think it would be best to pick from the first 3 because we've talked about those the most. For the presentation, have at least 8 slides or something akin to that. Meaning if you do make a live video or something, that it is something that has transition that isn't just the same, talking head or something like that to give it some transition. Then have those outside resources set up this way. First, what's the social problem? How does it pertain to the community? Teach us what that is. Why is this a social problem that is important for this community to learn about? And what theory are you using to investigate that social problem? What does research suggest about the causes of the problem based on the 3 at least or more resources you've looked at? What are statistics then that pertain to the social problem? How do they speak to us about it? Not just the theoretical, but what is the rate, for example, of teenage pregnancy, or what is the divorce rate, etc. What are some of the things that we can do to change or cause social change regarding that social problem? And what could be done, particularly at Emporia State, if you had a chance to make what I call sociological hunch about something that you think would be helpful, and then a conclusion. That's basically the presentation itself, and also what I want to see in the paper, but in the paper also to be very clear, telling me why you set the project up the way you did. The last piece I'll lift up is peer reviews, and peer reviews are something that you're going to do in your social groups. So these will be uploaded and then assigned to your social groups. That means that people that are looking at your presentation are people that you're used to having dialogue with. There will be in the online class 2 peer reviews per presentation, meaning 2 people will look at your work and you will look at 2 people's work. And with those will be the assigned questions of What did you learn? What did the person do well? What are some areas of improvement? And a sense of just encouragement, giving thanks for the presentation. That will be done on a sidebar in the presentation itself where it's uploaded. You'll have access as a peer reviewer to answer those questions. With the date of April 28th, 11:59 for the upload, then I'm expecting peer reviews to be done in the next week to week and a half so that we can have the full project be able to be graded by the end of the first week in May. All right, trying to think of any other things that you might need to know. If you have questions, first, make sure to text. That's the best way to get a hold of me quickly at 913-553-0267. That's also on the syllabus. If you're wanting to know how I've also broken down the points for the presentation, there's a rubric here that you can look at and look at the questions more carefully. And I invite you to play around with all the different resources to make a voiceover. If you're running into problems, just if you need a phone call and I need to walk you through some stuff, I'm more than happy to help you out with that. I've done that before with a student or two and had quite good success with that in the end. All right, have a good week, and thanks for listening.